Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chapter 1, A Whole Person Framework of Health. In today's lecture, we'll explore how health extends beyond the physical body and why communication plays a central role in creating healthier individuals, communities, and societies. Traditionally, healthcare has focused on diagnosing and treating disease. However, contemporary approaches increasingly recognize that health is shaped by many interconnected factors, including relationships, communities, environments, policies, and systems of power. In this chapter, we'll get introduced to the whole person system of health, or WPHC framework, and explore how health communication can promote social justice, equity, and well being. Today, we'll cover several major concepts. First, we'll define whole person healthcare, or WPHC, and discuss why health should be understood as a social justice issue. Next, we'll compare biomedical and objectivist approaches with more contemporary approaches such as value based care, integrative medicine, and coordination of care. We'll then explore the social determinants of health, or SDOH, and examine how health is socially constructed through communication and culture. Finally, we'll discuss reflexivity, interdependence, and inclusive rights based approaches to health. By the end of the lecture, you should be able to explain why health is multidimensional and how communication influences health outcomes at multiple levels. Let's begin with a simple question. How connected is your health to the people and environments around you? Many of us think of health as an individual responsibility. We might focus on exercise, nutrition, sleep, or stress management. But consider how your family influences your eating habits. Your friends influence your social support. Your community influences your access to healthcare. And environmental conditions influence your exposure to pollution or clean air. The whole person framework suggests that health exists within interconnected systems. A person's well being is linked to family well being, community well being, societal well being, and even planetary health. For example, climate change affects air quality, which affects respiratory health. Community violence affects stress levels and mental health. Family support affects recovery from illness. Health is never purely individual. Some of the links on this chapter might give you an insight into the comments I've just made. The whole person healthcare framework views health as both an individual and collective issue. According to this perspective, every person's health is connected to larger social and environmental systems. The framework also expands how we define health. Rather than focusing only on physical systems, WPHC recognizes physical, mental, societal, social, relational, spiritual, emotional, and environmental dimensions of health. For example, a person may be physically healthy but experiencing severe loneliness or social isolation. Conversely, someone living with a chronic illness may still report high levels of well being because of strong relationships, meaningful work, and community support. This broader understanding encourages healthcare providers and communication professionals to consider the full context of people's lives. A key distinction in this framework is the difference between health, illness, and disease. The World Health Organization defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, not merely the absence of disease. Illness refers to the lived experience of symptoms. For example, pain, fatigue, anxiety, or discomfort are experiences of illness. Disease refers to a medically diagnosed condition that typically requires professional treatment. A person may experience illness without a diagnosed disease, or they may have a disease without experiencing noticeable symptoms. Understanding these distinctions helps communication professionals appreciate both clinical realities and patient experiences. The whole person framework has five major characteristics. First, it is multidimensional, which means health includes physical, mental, social, relational, and spiritual dimensions. Second, it is subjective. People's perceptions and experiences matter. Third, it is person centered. Care should address the individual's unique needs and circumstances. Fourth, it is value based. Health outcomes are interpreted within broader social and economic contexts. Finally, it is integrative. Multiple services and resources work together to support health. As communication scholars, notice how each of these characteristics requires dialogue, listening, collaboration, and relationship building. To appreciate the whole person framework, we need to understand what it is reacting against. The traditional biomedical model focuses primarily on disease processes within the body. It often examines one organ system at a time and treats disease as separate from broader life circumstances. This approach has contributed tremendously to medical advances. However, it can sometimes overlook emotional, social, cultural, and environmental influences on health. The biomedical model asks, what disease does this person have? The whole person model asks, what is happening in this person's life that influences their health? The whole person approach shifts attention from isolated diagnoses to the entire person. Instead of focusing solely on symptoms, providers consider emotional well being, social support, financial circumstances, transportation access, housing, and community resources. The patient becomes more than a diagnosis. This represents a significant shift in healthcare philosophy and communication practices. Providers become collaborators rather than simply experts delivering treatment. A major component of WPHC is value based care. Traditional healthcare systems often reward volume of services. Value based care focuses instead on outcomes and quality of care. The goal is to coordinate services across providers and settings so patients receive comprehensive, efficient care. Consider a patient living with diabetes, hypertension, and depression. They may interact with the primary care physician, endocrinologist, therapist, nutritionist, pharmacist, and community support programs. Without coordination, care can become fragmented. With coordination, providers share information, communicate effectively, and support the patient's overall well being. This improves outcomes and reduces unnecessary costs. You can look at some of the resources on this site to understand multimorbidity as the presence of two or more chronic conditions in one individual at the same time. As the example shows, this sort of coordination of care across different physicians, specialized services, and care can be made possible through efficient coordination as well as communication. You can select the link for more detail. You can see this as well to understand how value-based care prioritizes coordination of care at multiple levels. Heart-aware students, or the image, will take you to a link that will emphasize some of the examples we've talked about in this context. And this slide tells you how value-based care emphasizes individuals as situated at the confluence of socioeconomic circumstances. Another perspective is integrative medicine. Integrative medicine combines conventional biomedical treatments with evidence-based complementary approaches. Examples may include mindfulness practices, yoga, acupuncture, nutrition counseling, and stress reduction techniques. You can see in this example how the integrative approach can look at college students who are at a high risk of stress, which may affect their sleep patterns, and look at how insomnia treatment might take an integrative approach. In this case, the emphasis is on balancing body, mind, and spirit. A biomedical approach might focus on medication, but an integrative approach may combine medical evaluation with sleep hygiene education, stress management techniques, mindfulness practices, and counseling services. The goal is to address underlying causes rather than only symptoms. In this way, it is patient-centered and involves coordination of care. Coordination of care is central to the whole person healthcare approach. Health information should move smoothly across providers and systems. Equally important, providers must understand that clinical information tells only part of the story. Transportation barriers, housing instability, language differences, and financial challenges all affect health outcomes. Continuity of care extends this idea across time. Rather than isolated encounters, healthcare becomes an ongoing journey. People receive support from diagnosis through treatment, recovery, prevention, and long-term wellness. Communication is the glue that connects these experiences. So you have the healthcare systems, behavioral health, and community resources that integrate and address every aspect of a person's healthcare, with the goal to create a continuum of care and integrate it at each point in the journey to better health. Here are some ways in which sports injuries through pickleball, overuse, dislocation, or concussion can be addressed through coordination of care. This is an example through which Johns Hopkins approaches this domain, and this is also has a link for Mayo Clinic to approach this domain. You'll see how coordination of care plays out in achieving optimal health outcomes and cost efficiencies, is patient-centered, and includes the patient's complete health story in these domains. Now we have the social determinants of health. One of the most influential concepts in public health is the social determinants of health, or SDOH. These are the social and environmental conditions that shape health outcomes. Examples include income, education, housing, neighborhood conditions, access to healthcare, food security, language, race and ethnicity, and cultural practices. You can check out this example in Healthy by Design, a link I've included for your benefit. You can also identify the strengths of what this group is doing under the link I've included for Change Labs. Research consistently shows that these factors often predict health outcomes more strongly than medical care alone. You can see in this example how health and disease can be seen as two ends of a continuum, and people's lifestyle and belief related health behaviors are connected with various kinds of chronic conditions. It also shows through the link that I've given here examples of how a preventative approach can help with belief related health behavior self management. Some sports on social media influencers have shared their management of health conditions, such as Selena Gomez might have. You can check out this link for celebrity influencers and how they have communicated their complete health picture through integrating lifestyle, diet, fitness to manage stress, mental health, and lifestyle issues. So, the healthcare whole person healthcare model will examine all these broader influences whenever we discuss health. The transactional model of healthcare will consider the disease which is not seen in isolation from the whole person. It shifts to a value-based whole person healthcare approach, where many whole health factors influence an individual's ability to achieve and maintain optimal health and well-being. In the transactional healthcare model, people who have diabetes will need to coordinate interaction with their primary care physician, optometrist, and podiatrist separately. And these communications and interactions would not be shared automatically with other healthcare providers. And these healthcare providers would not discuss topics at other province of the other healthcare providers. So they are all siloed. In the whole person healthcare approach, healthcare is coordinated, which means the healthcare providers and the behavioral health and social services are all aligned. In this way, a person experiencing a chronic health condition may see a dentist who might flag an underlying pathology and share the information with the person's primary care provider and thus encourage timely preventive action or treatment. For high-risk, vulnerable, or chronic health patients, WPHC offers sustainable health outcomes and effective health care. Here you can see an example of SDOH as they are included in the clinical record and how this might advantage people who speak different languages at home with this diverse education levels and with a range of housing status. Let us next look at relational and socially constructed nature of health. In the objectivist view, health is an objective biological reality. Disease is defined by measurable departures from normal body functioning. This perspective is valuable because it allows researchers and practitioners to identify risks and develop treatments. However, it can overlook meanings that are culturally based and lived experiences. The social constructive approach argues that health and illness are shaped by social interactions, cultural beliefs, and shared meanings. For example, ideas about mental health, disability, aging, and body image vary across cultures and historical periods. Social media influencers, advocacy groups, and communities all participate in shaping how health is understood. Communication, therefore, becomes a powerful force in defining what health means. Next, let us look at reflexivity and interdependence in healthcare approaches. whole-person healthcare framework emphasizes reflexivity. Reflexivity means being critically aware of our assumptions, perspectives, and contexts. Health professionals, researchers, and communicators must continually ask, how do my experiences influence my understanding of health? What perspectives might I be missing? How do media messages shape public understanding? Reflexivity encourages humility and critical thinking. It also emphasizes interdependence. Our health is connected with the health of others. Families, organizations, communities, and environments influence individual well-being. This recognition promotes cooperation, shared responsibility, and collective action. Next, let us look at inclusive and rights-based approach to health with respect to the whole person healthcare approach. This perspective argues that health is a fundamental human right. Health should not depend solely on income, geography, race, disability status, or social privilege. Inclusive approaches emphasize equity, participation, accountability, freedom from discrimination, and community empowerment. They also require collaboration across sectors. Healthcare alone cannot solve health inequities. Education, transportation, housing, employment, and environmental policy all contribute to population health. This is called intersectoral collaboration. The rights-based approach asks not only how we treat disease, but how we can create conditions that allow everyone to thrive. It looks at equitable distribution of power, community empowerment, and all the political, social, economic, scientific, and cultural actions that can be taken by everyone to ensure good health for all. It says that health services are important to improving people's health and well-being, preventing disease, and preventing social conditions that lead to disease. It says that health inequities can be targeted by intersectoral action in public health policies and coordination of care, which means it emphasizes inclusive, equity-based care and promotes healthcare policy that examines data by intersectionality, which means ethnicity, social class, and geographical area, among other factors. As we conclude, remember three major ideas. First, health is multidimensional. Physical health is important, but mental, social, relational, spiritual, and environmental factors matter as well. Second, health is socially shaped. The conditions in which people live, work, learn, and interact influence health outcomes. Third, communication is central to health. Communication shapes health beliefs, supports coordination of care, promotes inclusion, and empowers communities. As future health professionals, advocates, researchers, and leaders, your work will influence how people understand health and how societies create opportunities for well-being. Thank you for joining today's lecture, and I look forward to continuing our discussion of health engagement and advocacy in the next lecture.